Hey guys, it's Bree here at Blossom Ranch Farm. Today I'm at our home farm in Minnesota and we are going to be building a garden bed. So we're in a little bit of a food desert here, interestingly. So even though we're in the middle of farm country, there is not a lot available for fresh produce. So I'm going to be starting a bed here in the lawn. This season, we're proud to partner with Advancing Eco-Agriculture, providing regenerative solutions for growers, and greencoverseed.com. If your soil grows grass, and this is something that I see all the time, often in my consulting work that I've done in the past, have gotten complaints from people saying, I built this garden bed and this year everything in it is failing. And oftentimes the reason is the soil that we're purchasing. It is really very difficult to find bagged soil that is affordable, and that is why I always say if your soil grows grass, it will grow a garden bed as well. Just build it in the dirt. It saves you so much money. I'm going to show you how today, so let's go. First step is we need to get a shovel. I'm going to be doing this now. I could use our tractor. I've got a John Deere with a box blade on it, which would tear up the grass enough that it would work. But for the purposes of today and today's experiment and what I want to show you guys, I will use a shovel because you can do this all with a shovel. So let's pop into the garage here. If you have access to a tiller or can rent a tiller, you could also till up the grass and then just pull out the clumps. I know you guys are probably surprised that I advocate for tillage, but if you're establishing a garden for the first time, tilling is not as evil as you think because you can regenerate that soil life relatively quickly. Tilling every year is bad. Tilling one time to establish, totally fine. I would rather do that than buying a bunch of bagged soils. It's possibly contaminated with biosolids or microplastics, so I'm just gonna use what I got. Now, when I'm starting a garden bed, the things I want to look for are shade. Are there any large structures or big trees that are going to create a lot of shade in this space? So you can see there's a little bit of shade being cast right now. It's morning light, but these trees are dead, so they're not going to leaf out. This is as much shade as we're going to get. The other thing I look for, in general, for most vegetables, full sun is best. Now, things like lettuces and cilantro, some of those things will do okay in part shade, but for the most part, we want as full of sun as possible. I want to make sure it's got proximity to a water source so it's easy to water, and also that it has space to work around. So make sure you're not putting your beds too close together or too close to something so that you can't get a wheelbarrow around it. It's just nice when you're amending or adding mulches or those things. So I've got my space. I'm going to start kind of marking it out. I did find shovels. It's compacted, but it's not awful. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mark it out with a hose. Really use anything for this. You could use a rope, a piece of wood. It's just kind of to create the shape so that I can see about how I'm going to make it, where I'm going to put it. Like right here. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my shovel and I'm going to start edging it out. So I'm just going around all the edges of the bed with my shovel, and then I'm going across and basically making a cross hatch. And that way I'm able to remove squares of sod. This is much easier than doing it, for example, in one big roll, especially if your ground is compacted. And lawns typically can be pretty compacted because of all the traffic and all of the back and forth that happens on them, lawnmowers, all that kind of stuff. So by breaking it up into little squares, it makes it much easier to do the next step, which is to take out those squares of sod. And then I'm shaking off as much of the dirt as I can. So because there's actually quite a good bit of soil life in here, because there's been plant roots down and in this grass, there's quite probably a bit of microbial activity. And so I want to maintain as much of that in the soil as possible. So shaking off as much of this as I can. Now, I will say if you have rhizome-based grass, we've talked about rhizome-based weeds, that is going to be much more difficult to remove. So in that case, cutting and removing the sod like I'm doing here isn't going to work very well. I'd recommend you go back and watch our video about different types of weeds, especially rhizome-based weeds like bindweed and also rhizome grasses like Bermuda. Okay, so as you can see here, I've removed most of the grass and I've broken up most of the soil. So next step, oh, there's a little wormy. The next step is going to be for us to amend. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little pitchfork, my garden fork here. You could also use a broad fork if you have one. And I'm going to go in and loosen up the soil. This is just going to help because it's been pretty compacted, as I mentioned. Now, I'm not totally turning it over. I'm just kind of getting down into those lower layers of the soil. And again, aerating just a little bit, loosening a little bit. It's going to make it easier to plant. Also, if you have any weeds still in here after this, it's going to make it easier to pull those out.
So amending, the next step, it depends on your soil type. Now I talk a lot about soil on this channel. For this particular bed, I'm just using some earthworm castings because this soil is already pretty good. But if you have more clay-like soil, you might want to add a little bit more compost, and a good high quality compost is going to be your best bet. And by high quality, I mean you're going to want to search for something that is OMRI certified. Don't just look for something that says organic on the label. That means nothing. Look for OMRI certified. Now, even though this isn't technically a raised bed, I do like to have some kind of edging in place just to separate it from the grass. So here I am using rocks that I found from around the property. You could do this. You could also bury down some edging. You could also use lumber or some cedar or some logs to separate it from your grass in your lawn as well. I'm going to be planting in some seedlings. I love when you buy seedlings and there's actually two instead of just one. So I've just pulled these 2 tomatoes apart that were in the container and planted each one separately. If you're going to be direct sowing, you can do that at this time too. You can see I'm just sprinkling some basil here into a trench. And then when I do the next step, I'm going to be careful not to cover up this area. So if you want to mark out where you've direct sowed, usually I'll use a stick or something like that just to mark so that I know where I've put my seeds down. Now I'm going to grab some mulch. So mulch is a topic that we get into a lot. I have a whole video about my favorite mulches, but in general, whatever you have around is best. At the farm, we have a lot of this 50-year-old straw. It's been sitting in the barn for forever, so I don't have to worry about it being contaminated with pesticide or weed seeds. It's so old. So I feel okay using straw in this situation, but if you have leaves around from last fall, if you have pine needles, that will work. Pine shavings are also great. Here it is, the final garden bed. I went ahead and lined it with some rocks just from around the property. You could use whatever you want, but I would recommend doing some kind of edging, especially if you have grass, just because it helps keep that grass from creeping in a little bit. You could use lumber, you could use logs, you could really use anything, but we just had rocks, so that's what I used. You could even do a wattle fence. I've shown making those before. They're really quite simple, so if you wanted to do a wattle fence, you could do that as well. If you have lots of smaller twigs or if you've just pruned a tree, you could do that as well. We've got our tomatoes in here, and you can see that I've got the mulch around these plants, and then here where I direct sowed some things down in the furrows, I did not mulch that just because obviously we want that to be able to come up. There's some other little holes here that I pulled back the mulch to seed directly into. I've got some dill, we've got tomatoes, I've got cucumbers, and yeah, now this bed is going to be pretty much autopilot. So that's why I did a lot of that straw mulch. I've talked about mulch before. I'll link that video down below. I don't usually use straw, but here at the farm I do because we have a lot of it, and it's all from 1976. All the weeds are dormant. It hasn't been sprayed with grays on, so I feel really safe using straw here, and it's what we have around. But you could also use leaves. You could use pine shavings, would work really well. Those are all ones that I like to use. Pine needles as well. There's no irrigation on this garden, and I'm not here. So it will be really interesting when we come back here in about 3-ish weeks to sow our cover crop and see how this garden is doing. So I'll keep you guys in the loop. We will update with how this hands-off, easy garden bed is doing when we come back here to the farm. And for now, let me know any questions below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it's motivated you to potentially start a garden bed and do a side-by-side. I always think it's really interesting to see a side-by-side if you have like a raised bed with purchased soil versus what you already have. It's a good little experiment to do. You don't have to do a big plot. You could just do a little square and just see how things do. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. We will see you around here next time at a farm. This one, the other one, I don't know. See you guys.